Hello and welcome to Kazoop Art. This right here is an art test that I completed for a certain game studio that I'm going to be speaking about in today's video. Now, I'm going to come back to this later on, but for now, I'm going to start things off with the 8 finalized concepts that I contributed to this studio during my time there. Okay, so here we are on my ArtStation page. This studio is called Unfocused Entertainment Productions. I'm sure you can find that on LinkedIn. I will provide a link to that in the description below. I will also provide a link to my ArtStation page down below. But anyway, let's begin. So this shotgun concept is the first of the 8 concepts that I contributed. And I just want to quickly go over this right now. So here's the final concept. Side views, front, back, a call out for the ammo. Typical stuff with the iterations here with 6 of them. This is the one that I chose to finalize. And then here we have the thumbnails and then refined sketches. So was my process for everything that I did here. I started with thumbnails, refined sketches like this, then some iterations, and then finalized stuff. So that's the first one that I did. The second one that I did is the trap redesign, which is over here. Here is the finalized concept here with all the VFX stuff. So I'll start here with the thumbnails down below. I have 3 main iterations here with A, B, and C, and doing 5 iterations of each. And then other concepts here, and then here's a scale reference for the players. And then going up, this is the refined sketches that I went over. And here's the finalized concept here. As you can see here, here's the finalized concept again, just rendered and polished and everything. So there's 3 hatches on the top where the hatches on the top would expand when the enemy comes nearby. And then this happens. So the hatches are going to expand when the enemy is nearby, and it's going to emit a red lightning strike at the player, and then it's going to immobilize them and stun them for a few seconds. So that's it for the trap. The third concept I did is the escort. So here it is. Now, this is the main thing that we are fighting for. For context, this is an arena map with 2 teams, and we're fighting for the escort, where one person's going to hold the escort, and that's how the team is going to score points. As you're holding the escort, it's going to damage you. So eventually, you're going to have to drop the escort down when you're at low health to have another teammate pick it up, or you're just going to get shot at and killed. So this is like the main concept, the main selling point of every match. So I'm going to come back to this later on. But here we go. I'm going to go down to the thumbnails first. So I've got 20 here, playing around with all these shapes, circular shapes, triangular shapes, trying to figure out what's best here. And then here are some refined sketches just drawing on top of reference images here, trying to figure out what this thing is going to look like. Again, more refined sketches, more iterations. Same thing here with 18 total. Over here, I thought about what kind of mineral or rock could be underneath the metal plating, and I just had nearly 80 iterations of that. So here we have the VFX slide. Now the VFX is out of my comfort zone. That's not what I usually do. But during my time here, I wanted to get out of my comfort zone and try some new things. So here it is. So inside of this glass sphere, there's a constant electrical current, and then sparks would fly out periodically. And then here we have the finalized design. This is not my actual work here, this character. This is by somebody else on the team. I'm not going to name them. And then I just took this uh, image right here and just put that all on top of that. And this is basically just a simple scale reference. Otherwise, here you have the polished design. Okay, so the number fourth is health and armor test tubes right here. So this is pretty simple. Here are some thumbnails, refined sketches, and then here we have the color iterations. And so the idea here is that armor and health does not regenerate automatically. You have to find these tubes, and then you have to smash them and break them. And then here are the effects, the VFX for each one. Purple is for armor, orange is for health. So it's basically the same thing. You'd have a silhouette here with a hexagonal pattern going up and down, and then some electrical stuff going on. And then during this process, this is when your health and your armor, your armor or your health is going to regenerate. And so that way the enemy can clearly see that you're regenerating your armor or your health. So we can target you a bit more. So moving on to the fifth design is the smoke bomb. So here it is. Again, just thumbnails here, refined sketches, A or B. Obviously, we went for a B here, and here are some orthographics and a finalized view concept here. So pretty simple. You're going to throw this at the enemy, and it's just going to create a smoke bomb. When an enemy is in the smoke bomb, sorry, they're going to have a red outline, so you can clearly see them. Here are some other abilities that we were thinking about. This one is kind of okay, I guess. Just a stealth ability where you go invisible, but this is a character or one of the playable characters that you could use on either team. So this is the fifth design. Now the sixth design is going to be the ammo pack. So it's this one right here. So pretty self-explanatory here. Thumbnails and then refined sketches here. Same thing over here. This is about color palettes. So what works, what doesn't. Here are just icon designs. So you're not just going to have one ammo pack that's universal. You're going to have like multiple ones. So that was the idea here. So each one of these would have their distinctive sniper ammo. So since shotguns and snipers are like power weapons, they'd probably have their own ammo pack, and then everything else would just have one ammo box. So that was the idea at the time. I don't know what is going to be there eventually. And so here we have the finalized design, front, back, side views. They're both the same on either side. And then, rendered front view. So the way this works is that these parts here are going to open up like this. And then you have these cylinders here, which is the ammo. And this would be the common. This was actually, no, this was supposed to be the shotgun ammo pack. So that's what it was at the time. So we have two more here. We have the gun stand design, which is right here. So the way this would work was that you'd have a few of these on the map, and this can basically spawn any weapon. You don't really know. Um, but there were ideas that, based on a specific color, the weapon would materialize and you would know that that's like a specific weapon, right? So for the shotgun, let's say we're going to use red for that. So if you see one of these weapon stands and it's red, it has a red glow like this, then you know it's a shotgun. And also the weapon doesn't just appear, it's going to materialize within like 5 seconds max. So that's what this is about. And this is just exploring color palettes for that. So the test tube stand, the test tubes are what I just showed you with the health and armor. So that's the same thing. They would just materialize like this. Obviously, you would pretty quickly be able to discern if it's armor with purple or health with orange based on what color it is, right? But the same concept, you'd have these throughout the map, and it would emit this light, and periodically, I don't know, it could take like 1 to 2 minutes maybe for this to respawn, and then you'd see the silhouette like this pop up, and then it's going to materialize within like 5, 10 seconds or so. That was the idea at the time. I don't know what it is right now. But again, same kind of philosophy here, just starting with thumbnails, refined sketches, which you do not see here. You see them here. All kinds of color palettes, color iterations, um, all over the place. And then you have the finalized design right here, and the finalized designs for health and armor right here. And then we have the final 8 finalized design that I contributed. So this is the black hole bomb. So it's exactly what it sounds like. So you're gonna throw this at the enemy and it's going to form a black hole. If enemies are anywhere in the vicinity, they're just gonna get sucked in. They're not gonna die instantly necessarily. They're just gonna basically float around until they die or somebody shoots them. Um, and they're just gonna basically be immobilized, floating around in space until the black hole evaporates. So here we go. Here are like black hole designs that I made, and then here's like the VFX portion of it, where you're throwing the grenade on the ground. The black hole is basically gonna just jump out of there and then materialize and then evaporate. And then down here are some iterations and thumbnails of what the actual grenade is. Is this going to be like cylindrical or more spherical because of the spherical shape of the black hole? That's something I was thinking about. And then very, very, very basic black hole iterations firsthand. And then here's the finalized stuff. So I'm going to come back to this. So like I mentioned before, this S core or like systematic core, uh, S core is for short. This is the main selling point. Now you might be thinking, okay, cool, you're showing me all this art. Like, what's the point here, right? The point is, at this game studio, Unfocused Entertainment Productions, none of this was paid. So I'm not paid for any of this at all because I was a volunteer, same as everybody else on the team, right? We're all of us are volunteers. And the idea was we're gonna make this sci-fi game, this demo that we're gonna show to some big name investors. that I'm not going to mention, but that's basically the idea, right? We're going to make this game demo as best as we can, and we're going to show it to these investors, and hopefully one of them is going to buy us out. Basically, they're going to invest in our game, in our studio, and then all of us can be funded at that point. And then we can, be paid full time or be paid part time. So that's what I believed in. That's what I thought was going to happen, right? I'm just going to join this team as a volunteer. I'm going to work hard, and somehow, some way, somebody's going to invest in our team and our game, and I'm going to be, you know, finally be paid as a full-time concept artist. That's what I thought. But that did not happen. And in fact, this is precisely the reason I'm making this video, to tell you, whoever you are watching this right now, you're thinking about getting into the games industry, be wary of volunteer opportunities. You know, you are obviously replaceable. These people, they don't really care about you. They think they can just use all of these volunteers for their game, and then they can just treat them however they want because they're unpaid. And at the end, they can just let you go without a care in the world because they're just using you the same way that they used me. So why do I say that I feel used? Well, I was told by one of the people that worked here at this game studio, I don't know if they're there right now, but they let me know that out of the many volunteers that they've had, I was contributing more than all of them, basically, for the last few years. So I thought that my hard work was going to pay off and turn into something, but clearly it did not. And actually, that same person told me that they do not see me being able to contribute anything professionally, which doesn't make any sense at all when this is the main selling point of your game with every match that we're going to play as the players. And this is my design. And with the other 7 designs, I have contributed 8 total finalized concepts to your game, one of which is the selling point again. And the other team members, volunteers, are modeling all of these concepts of mine and, rigging them, doing the animations, the sound work, and actually implementing them into the game. So the idea that I cannot contribute anything professionally doesn't really make any kind of sense to me. And another thing, I was actually, like, the entire time, this is from October 2024 to March 25, which is about around 5 months. That entire time I was in burnout. So I'm working my butt off on under the assumption, the idea that I'm going to be able to stay on this team and work full time for 5 months, only to be met with utter sheer disappointment, being told that I cannot contribute anything professionally. I am under no obligation to keep going, and ultimately failing my art test and being told that I don't have a place on the team. And with regards to this art test that I did, I put 20 hours into this thing only to be told that this team expected more from me. This is 20 hours in like a 3-day period, but I guess that's not enough. Also, this is too clunky. That was the main point that they had for me. So I guess I can see that, right? This is maybe a bit too big to be like a medical crate you could find on the ground. But hey, that's just their opinion, I guess. And because I'm a volunteer, they can just treat me however they want. So at the end of the day, I want to tell you, if you're in the game industry or you want to be in the game industry, be wary of volunteer opportunities. I would not recommend this at all unless you absolutely have to do this and you cannot uh, find a paid internship. That's the only reason I would ever go for an unpaid volunteer position, to be honest with you. I would, again, I would advise you to just try to go for a paid internship position. I know that's not really available for everyone. You have to make a portfolio for that. You have to network a lot and work on your skill level. So it is way harder to get into than an unpaid volunteer position. But I would go for a paid internship because I don't want you to be treated this way. You are not a tool that is just going to be replaceable in the blink of an eye when, in this environment where this company doesn't really care about you and they're just using you. I don't want you to have to go through that ever, as that's not fun. Um, Joining a company as a volunteer, thinking that uh, they care about you and they're actually want to hire you as a full-time employee at some point, only to come to the end of that time period and to realize that they don't care about you, that they're just going to use all of the concepts that you contributed to them without paying you. And they're going to kick you when you're already down and you're in burnout, and tell you that they expected more from you, that you're under no obligation to keep going, that you can't contribute anything professionally when they're literally using your concepts in the game. And like me, you just feel like this company blatantly used you. I don't want you to have to go through that. So that's why I'm making this video. These are my thoughts. Stay away from these volunteer opportunities. Um, a lot of them are probably going to end up like me, like this. I don't want that to happen for you. So I would advise you to go for a paid internship at the end of the day. So I hope that this video can help you out in some way in your games industry journey, wherever you are. Um, this stuff should not be happening. I don't agree with it. I hope this stops. I hope none of you watching this have gone through this or will have to endure something like this because it's just not fun. So that's all I have to say. Goodbye.